Hi guys.
Hi.
So we're back to another episode of Silly Talk after a long time.
When was the last time we did?
I have no. I think it was 2 years, 2.5 years ago. COVID time.
Longer than that.
COVID time. Yeah. It's like when we were just basically
This
closed.
could be even before COVID time. I think.
No, I think it was COVID time.
COVID time.
Yeah, because I was wearing that strawberry shirt that I used to wear all the time.
Yeah.
All of
Where is your
COVID.
strawberry t-shirt?
I gave it away because I think it was time. Like,
Why?
I know, right? But anyway, I just thought that I had worn that shirt into oblivion. So
I don't
was just
remember what I was wearing. I don't know.
I don't remember what you were wearing either. You don't wear iconic things as much as I do.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. It's just the month ka whatever is my favorite. I wear that.
Yeah, and for me, things are iconic because I wear the same thing.
Yeah.
until
You're like a cartoon character like that.
yeah, I live in the same thing until it dies. So, which is why it becomes like, oh, that outfit is Shweta's because I've become that outfit.
Yes.
Like, that outfit becomes me. So, yeah, which is why it is iconic, not. So, like, yeah, so that was what it was the last time, and it has been a while since we're doing it this time. And I hope that we do this again and again because my favorite person to have like actual intellectual just talk with is my sister.
Because I'm so intellectual, guys.
Yeah.
People don't give me enough credit.
The-
So intellectual.
Yeah. No, she is actually. I know she makes fun of it, but she's actually pretty darn good. And what we pride ourselves on is the fact that we're not experts, but we're pretty okayly read on
Yeah.
stuff.
And when sometimes you're friends with people or like you have a sibling and you are talking to them and that conversation is so fun and interesting and you're like, oh my god, I wish we recorded this.
Yeah.
And like someone could hear it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it was mostly because we both have opinions on things, but we have starkly different opinions on things, but well thought out opinions on things.
Yeah.
So even if we have different opinions on things, like it is kind of like thought out opinion. It's not like how people are like, I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm like, no. You're entitled to an informed opinion, not just a random opinion. You just want to shove at people on their face to make them feel small or to judge them or whatever. You should have your opinion, which is thought out according to you, and that's my opinion about opinions.
You know what's so fun? I think you spoke about the same thing in the last podcast.
Did I?
Yeah, like ditto.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
No, but that's so cool. It's like a
continuity thing.
continuity.
Yeah, and which is why I think Silly Talk is like a very apt name that I've given to, maybe because I was explaining why I've called this Silly Talk, which is, I believe that you're not supposed to be an expert, but introspect, like, So, yeah. What I like about conversations with you and me is that our thoughts are after some bit of introspection. It is not like an emotional regurgitated reaction to something. We actually think about like why do we think this, or which is because most people otherwise have like a very like screw this is the bad thing because whatever, and I think that's a very toxic way to be. And I think that both of us, I think we can be pretty proud that we have tried to veer away from toxicity as much as we could. I'm sure that we have like our moments, like everybody does, and have weird emotional reactions and stuff, which is normal. But our belief systems are mostly, I don't think, our reactions
to
things. Could be though.
Could be. I feel like, this is a random tangent, but have you seen that Rohit Shetty clip with Ajay Devgan?
No.
Ajay Devgan is talking and he just repeats the last word.
Yeah.
I felt like that for like the last 2 minutes. And I'm just like, wait, I need to stop doing that.
No, but it's true. It's like, ऐसा, पैसे पेड़ पे नहीं उगते. It's like,
नहीं उगते. Yeah.
Sanu's my Rohit Shetty.
Yeah. Don't you need a Rohit Shetty in life?
Yeah, I do. Everybody does.
Yeah.
So I weirdly actually wanted to approach a topic that I've wanted to approach for a long time, but I felt very scared to approach because
it is a contentious topic.
Yeah, it is a very contentious topic to
Mm.
approach, but because I've had so much experience with it, and like and I think that it should be talked about because the gender equivalent of that on the other side, on the other side of the spectrum, is spoken about very openly and a lot. Like
That's true.
So I believe that this side should also be spoken about, especially because it's kind of like current affairsy right now because of that man committing suicide. Like man from You've not heard of this? So there was a man from Bangalore who actually committed
Oh,
suicide
right, yeah.
because his wife was
was,
really squeezing him in the divorce case.
Mhm.
So and this is not like a one-off thing. This happens
Often. Yeah.
a lot.
For sure.
And the reason why women are so the topic is toxic femininity. So getting back to it is that like I believe that a lot of women actually are not believed when they actually go through something that is traumatic or like rape case
Because
and all of
of
that.
women who.
Because a lot of women who actually just want to character assassinate a guy because she has been like thwarted or something like that, and she just kind of tries to character assassinate him and lies about him actually raping her or going or sexually harassing her or whatever,
Yeah.
even though she was in a proper relationship with the dude. But after he breaks up with her, she just wants to like be like, nah, I must show you, like
Yeah.
and then she goes to the police and she'll be like, this guy raped me,
Yeah.
and this happens a lot, like and which is why a lot of police people like take a lot of girls who just come to them with an actual real complaint in a very wry manner, and they have to investigate her in all sorts of weird ways, like actually checking her her thighs and her like her vagina or whatever for actual fluid, because a lot of women have lied about this,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and I believe that a lot of actually I think nobody suffers more because of toxic femininity than women do. The men don't. Men are having fun, like honestly. So according to me, like toxic feminine behavior are the biggest, like trauma sometimes that like just normal girls go through, like I don't know, do you remember this episode from New Girl which is called Girl Fight?
Yeah, between Jess and Nick's girlfriend,
Yeah.
who's a lawyer,
Yeah.
right? Like, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, not
Oh, no,
it's a
the one
CC
CC
and
and Jess.
Jess.
Nah.
So there was this episode in this show called New Girl, which is supposed to be a favorite of my sister's, much more than it's like something
Yeah.
that I enjoy. I also enjoyed those episodes a lot. My sister's crazy about
Yeah, I've seen it like 25 times.
it, which is why to give her a
Yeah.
reference, I kind of had to reference that. So it's like this thing where she tries to explain to Nick that girls fight very differently to boys. Like a guy, if he's pissed at you, will probably like punch you in the gut and be like and
Yeah.
be like get lost or whatever. But for a woman, she will hurt you like mentally, she will hurt you emotionally, she will hurt you like on she'll make you feel excluded, she'll make you feel down on yourself.
I think like mental warfare, right, for women is more common because, like, see, humans are humans. They'll experience, like I always say this, shitty people are shitty people. It's not like men are shitty,
Yeah.
women are not.
Absolutely.
Shitty people can exist in all forms, in all
Absolutely.
genders, and all. So, like, and same for shitty emotions, right? Like anger, jealousy, frustration, aggression, especially aggression. Like, humans are aggressive by nature, and like women are not allowed to show aggression in a physical manifestation of that, so that becomes very internalized and becomes mental warfare, because we can't just go up to someone and punch them. Like, even if we can't, it's so programmed in our head that we can't do behavior like that, can't partake in behavior like that. It becomes mental warfare, and that's how we have been programmed almost from a very young age to exercise our negative emotions in the form of just horrible shitty things you do to mentally to somebody. that's why even bullying, I feel like, is overlooked on women, right? Like with bullying that happens to men, you get punched, you get thrown into a dumpster or whatever. But female bullying is very different, very complex, very mental warfare esque. So that takes almost, I feel like, a long term toll on a human compared to like just being shoved into your locker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that, like, a guy will probably just be afraid of speaking truth to power because he'll get shoved in a dumpster.
Mm.
Whereas a woman will be afraid of speaking truth to power to a female, like, powerful person, because they are afraid that everybody will leave them.
Yeah.
Which is like a worse,
Yeah.
worse
Very mental torture sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like typical examples of, say, toxic feminine behavior would say, like, Regina George, or this thing Alana from Princess Diaries, or whatever. Basically, these sort of people who kind of like build a negative narrative about somebody they don't like just because they don't like them. Like, it'd be like, I heard she, like,
Yeah.
fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So, for example, if she's doing the exact same thing as this person is doing, like, or just even doing a different thing that this person is doing, they would just kind of like go around talking about, like, what a weird girl, I heard she, fill in the blank. Like,
What I find in society is a very interesting thing to talk about, like just the opposite of this, right? Like in my generation and even younger than me, like I have a lot of people I work with that are even younger than I am. They are obsessed with this word, like she's not, like I was talking about Sabrina Carpenter, okay? And she was like, I don't like Sabrina Carpenter. And I was like, why? And, she was like 20. And she was like, yeah, because she's not a girl's girl. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Like, this whole need for some, but that's a good wave, I feel, like, of needing to support women who support women, who don't like steal another girl's guy or bitch about a girl's appearance and, just play games. So, being a girl's girl, I feel like, I mean, it's a complex thing that you're simplifying into words, but yeah.
Why I think it is toxic femininity is because, femininity actually values collaboration more than competition. Competition is actually
Yeah.
a very manly trait.
Mm.
Like, it's me or this guy. And a feminine trait is to be like, no, it's okay, we both can do it together. Like,
Yeah,
that is a
exactly.
very feminine trait, which is why, like, even a king or anybody could have two wives.
Correct.
But if a woman has two husbands, they kill each other.
Yeah.
Like, they literally kill each other. So, women could probably understand, adjust, and, like, collaborate with another woman far more easily. And also, women were basically the thing that understood that together we get more shit done.
Yeah.
Like, which is why gathering and community and community eating and community nourishing was a very female feminine idea.
Yeah.
So I believe that toxic femininity is actually women who are a lot in their masculine, like in the sense that they are very competitive and they are very like me or this person. And I'm like, and that's why people think about girl, right? Like, in the sense that, they're not competing with another girl. They see how beautiful she is, even though she's kind of skinnier than me. And I see how beautiful I am, even though I'm a little more plump than she is.
Yeah.
Like,
being threatened by another woman.
Yeah.
Like we were even talking about this before the podcast, right? I genuinely feel like it's a product of patriarchy. It's a product of, because think about it, like if you look at like poor people versus rich people, or like the British colonizing India, they literally, it's divide and rule. If women all clubbed together and were together and did not fight each other over stupid things, we would, I don't know, crush the patriarchy, I feel. But we are programmed to not support each other, Like even if in a household where there are multiple women and just one man, he's the top dog of the house, in like a lot of Indian houses, right? That's because the women don't support each other. That household is filled with patriarchy,
Actually,
it's not,
weirdly, sorry to interrupt, but I do believe that more often than not, a woman is the top dog of the house. Always, almost. Like, even if she's not as vocal about it, she is. Like,
Yeah, but that's our experience, right?
No,
Like,
not our experience. I believe that in a lot of families that I have seen, I've seen that to be the case. Because, like, if mom's not happy, nobody is.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair. But I'm talking about financial decisions. I'm talking about
Sure.
big decisions, like not in our household, but like in villages, in small towns, in tier two, tier three cities. It's very different. Like women don't have as much agency as we have. Like for sure, you're right in a way. Like women make a lot of financial decisions, especially in tier one cities, on what gets bought in the house, what detergent is bought in the house, which school the
The
kid
values
goes
the
to.
children have,
Yeah,
the
so
like what like just for example, if a woman is entrusted with the job of actually instilling values in their children, I believe that's a huge power to give a human
yeah,
being,
definitely,
like
definitely.
which is probably why we, like in my opinion, people in their toxic feminine energy are actually the biggest gatekeepers of patriarchy, because they're propagating it. Like they're like, बहू हो तो ऐसी होनी चाहिए, सुशील होनी चाहिए,
Yeah, that's
घर के
a
काम करने चाहिए, उसको काम नहीं करना चाहिए कहीं और बाहर जाके.
mm,
All of these sort of things, if they are taught, I'm making like a very classically badly painted image of that. Nobody, I hope, is like that. I'm sure that they are.
yeah.
So there are a lot of people who are
That's a
like
really
that
good
too.
topic, right? Like
Yeah.
that we are nicely transitioned into is like the cycle of abuse
Yeah.
and like always propagating that.
Yeah.
And how do you end that?
Yeah.
Like just because on a very minor level, like if I have been bullied for looking a certain way, when somebody who looks a little worse than me in terms of conventional beauty, I will go and bully them, because I'm propagating the cycle of abuse. Because I'm like, oh, now I get to be the top dog. It's so interesting that you spoke about masculinity, right? Um, so I think our conversations are interesting because I always come at it from a psychology perspective, and she's really into spirituality and understanding energy and things like that. So, which is very different in terms of opinions.
And both are very real.
But
like,
yeah, and both
Even though she might scoff at the thing of spirituality.
but they have an intersection, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but like, because for me, I only see masculine energy in terms of one hormone, and that is testosterone. And there is one really interesting study done on rats, okay? And there was rat A, rat B, rat C, rat D in this experiment. And rat B was like the top dog. Like he was big, he used to bully the other rats, like he was like, the way animals work. So rat A used to suck up to rat B, and he was also relatively stronger than C and D. Okay, D was like the weakest rat in the thing, and was like literally meek looking and was getting bullied a lot and stuff like that. And C used to get bullied, but not as much as D. So they took C rat and they injected him with a lot of testosterone, and they wanted to see if that C rat would, challenge the power dynamics, take on B, and something interesting happened where like the C rat started to bully the D rat and not the B one. Like he did not challenge the B rat. He propagated the status quo. He kept it going. He bullied the D rat to make sure that he is in third position, not fourth. So yeah, that was. I don't know if that says a lot about testosterone. I don't know about the legitimacy of this study because I just saw it on social media. Haven't not studied it in a textbook, but yeah, I found that interesting about what testosterone does to humans and what masculinity means and all of this.
Yeah.
It's a zero-sum game, like she said, right? I win, you lose. So I wonder if there is some interlinking to that mindset and what it means to be a man.
Whereas
literally.
I believe that the very feminine thing, like in terms of energy to do, is if a person is new or if a person is helpless, to be like, hey, I got you, it's okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Like,
because protection and nurture is literally in our
interlinked.
biology.
It's interlinked.
And it's in our evolutionary biology to be like that.
Yeah.
Right?
So inclusivity is actually the more feminine thing to do. Like be like, hey, why are you wandering out there alone? Come join us. Like that's a very feminine thing to do. Even if a man does it, In fact, it is a very feminine thing to do and a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So, in fact, this is a great topic, thing to bring on. I believe that, both men and women are supposed to have feminine and masculine qualities. Like, I believe that a good man or a good woman both have masculine and feminine qualities. They just have to, not only have to, I'm not saying have to, nobody has to do anything in terms of these energies, because everybody's just them, and that's beautiful in the way that they are. But for example, which is why a woman with great character is celebrated, and a man who can provide for a lot of people is celebrated. Because the fact that you can provide for a lot of people, or have the ability to provide, or be king like, or have the nuance of politics, is actually a very feminine trait. To actually be like, hey, that guy needs this, that guy needs that, having this trait is a very feminine trait. And at the same time, it is the trait of a king.
Yeah.
Or a man in a leadership role, which is the man, right? The top dog, which we see as top dog, is a man actually with a tendency to have feminine traits, to be sensitive,
For sure.
to because you won't trust a leader who isn't sensitive to your needs. Whereas a woman who is in her character, in her high value character, is somebody who has self discipline, who has self love, and who actually knows how to draw a boundary, which is a very masculine trait. To say no and mean it, to have a routine that she does, to keep like a shell around herself. Okay, no, I will protect myself with my discipline. Like, I will wake up in the morning, I will go work out, and no matter whether I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bad, or whatever, the ability of me to take care of myself is a very masculine trait. And which is why woman who can really hold on to her beauty, her character, her self-love, no matter what the situation, is queen energy. Is what we call that. She can be relaxed in the worst scenarios. That is a woman who feels greatly protected by herself and her own discipline and her own boundaries. She won't sit and teach you about what to do and what not to do. She's like, fine, you can do this, but I'm not going to, gel with that. I'm not going to F with that. You can do as you like. That's just not my jam. Good luck. That's it's a very high value woman trait. Whereas a nag or somebody who will just go after you is a very masculine, no, you have to change this, or very doing energy and not a being energy. Doing energy, according to spirituality, is supposed to be more of like a masculine energy, and being energy is more of like, say, feminine energy. So that is where this is actually coming from. So I believe that women who are in their toxic masculine, who are in their toxic energy, are actually in their toxic masculine traits. They're not expressing the right masculine traits, because they have probably seen that around them. They probably at home, they didn't get attention from their parents unless they grabbed the attention from their parents. Which is probably why everything seems like a competition to them. Or people who like the aunties who are like, women are not supposed to look like that, women are not supposed to dress like that, they're not supposed to go to work like that. They probably were told all these things too, and and they actually put a lot of their own dreams to bed because of beliefs like that. The problem lies in so suppose I have been bullied, and if I bully another, like rat B or rat C or whatever, that would actually be my biggest mistake, according to me. Because according to me, if you have been bullied and if you know the pain of being bullied, then you wouldn't ever do that to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you would make sure that a person who is likely to be bullied, suppose a new girl comes into class, and you just say come sit here. Simple as that. Rather than giving them mean looks and judgy stares, that.
I think
according
that's
to-
where empathy comes in, right?
Yeah.
I don't think empathy can be a male or a female trait. Empathy is empathy, and every human being needs to have it.
So human
And the worst part about it is you can't teach it. There are some people who severely lack it, and say suppose Andrew Tate not having. See, it's when you focus on the differences between a man and a woman where you start losing empathy for the other gender, you know? Like, suppose someone like Andrew Tate or someone like most male podcast people, you know, I see these random clips of like these men talking about, oh, women are like this and women are like that. It's because you don't see the pain that another gender might feel and how similar it is to your own pain. Like when you feel bad for something, that's how women feel, you know? Like being in touch with your emotions, being in touch with another person's emotions, it requires a lot of empathy. And if you don't have that, like suppose I've been bullied, I know how that feels, I know the pain of that. I cannot let another person experience that pain. So it's as simple as, I don't know, having empathy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that somewhere people who are in their toxic feminine or toxic masculine energy both somewhere have let go of that extremely essential human emotion of empathy, because I believe that empathy is what makes us introspect, and empathy is something that makes us accountable for our own actions towards others. It is a very, very, I think that people aren't an entirely functional human being unless they have empathy. Like, you know, you can't be like there is like this great study of saying that there are people who have like amazing skills, right? Like for example, they're a great designer, they're a great whatever, but you look at anybody who actually does well in life, they might not be the best designer, but they always get ahead in life because they have soft skills. Like, you know, so no matter how many hard skills you have, if you have no soft skills, somewhere or the other you will kind of fall back. Like, you know, unless you're, obviously there are always exceptions to the rule, like say Tesla or whatever, but Tesla is remembered now, like, you know, like hundreds of years after his death. Like, you know, in his time, like nobody cared about him, like, you know, because
How does soft skills tie into toxic femininity? I'm just trying to
round it back. So I believe that having soft skills or empathy, like you said, that it is not a very, you know,
male or female
male or
trait.
female trait. It's actually a very female trait to have empathy, because men were supposed to draw boundaries or fight or hunt or do things that actually required like a lot of physical stuff. Because it is not, I'm not saying that it's a men versus female thing. What we have to get straight is not, it's not man versus woman, it's femininity versus masculinity. Now these are energies and both exist within a man or a woman.
Just out of curiosity, what is your opinion on, say, a trans woman?
Yeah.
Does she not have?
In fact, she has more of it, which is why a lot of places in the world, they are considered to be holy, like especially in India.
Why is that?
Because they are perfect, like Ardhanarishwar, like, you know, in the sense they are the cosmos within themselves, because there's such a perfect balance of.
So, but why do you think
masculine
they
and
want to
feminine.
transition? Because they have more female energy than male energy.
So a lot of times they kind of look at their own body as though they're wrong, but actually they're right. The way that they're born is correct. Like, you know, you can express yourself in a masculine way even though you're in a feminine body. Why not? Who stopped you? You want to be Mary Com? Go be Mary Com. You don't have to change your parts to be Mary Com. You know what I mean? So at the same time, if you want to be a Birju Maharaj, like, you know, you are perfectly masculine while being, you know, in an all-female field. Who told you to change your parts? Like, you know, they're actually born in the right body. It's just that the world makes them feel wrong, you know?
Yeah, you know, that's what I don't want to talk about it because it's a little.
No, you can talk about it. That's
It's
the
a
thing
little-
about, what I want my podcast to be is
But
that
see, I'll
people
tell
are
you
not
why I'm
politically
scared,
correct. They're just
right?
going to like speak whatever they speak, okay?
I'll tell you why I'm scared. Because as a person, I don't like talking about things that I have no personal experience with, or not even close to someone who has personal experience with. Like me commenting on a trans person, it's very easy when I'm a cis woman, born as a woman, never wanted to transition. Very different, very difficult to understand and really get myself to figure out why they would do that. Which is very fair. A trans person should represent themselves in that. But if I had to talk, what I find very interesting about gender, right, is I truly believe gender is very fluid, like, and it is a social construct.
I agree.
Like what a female looks, right? Like I'm wearing makeup right now. I'm wearing a dress. It's not that my body is telling me to do this. I have grown up. Society has developed. That's how a woman looks. That's how I look because I represent. I present myself as a woman. So if that is true, then why does someone need to transition, change themselves, like my sister said, if they can just present themselves however they want? No one will say anything to you. It's fluid.
Because that's
You know?
not how society sees it.
Yeah, maybe.
It is,
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
you know.
They're doing it for society to accept them as what they want to be accepted as.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who actually, I've read a lot of cases where people do transition and then they feel uncomfortable that way.
Yeah.
Because that is still not them. Like, you know, you can make all the changes you want, hun, but like, you know, and you're entitled to that. Like, you know, there are lots of people who are proud also after making that change. There are a lot of people who feel like it's not right after they make that change.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that that's a lot to put your body through. It is a lot of torture, honestly. But all power to you if you want
Yeah,
to
if
do
that's
that.
what makes
If
you
it
happy.
makes you happy, that's fine.
Yeah, like, see, exactly, I feel like.
But according to me, nobody is born wrong. Like, you
Yeah,
know.
like toxic anything, masculinity, femininity is exactly not having the attitude that we just spoke about.
Yeah, like, yeah,
Whatever
on the
makes
right
you
track,
happy.
baby, you were born this way.
No, like whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Live and let live, bro.
Yeah.
Like if Shweta is now she has purple hair, okay? And what if tomorrow I'm like, oh my god, you can't have purple hair, what the like that makes her happy. Who am I to tell her what color her hair should be?
Yeah.
What you should be eating in your plate?
Which one?
What clothes you should be wearing? What you present yourself as? So
Yeah, which is why my thing is that a lot of people actually do transition according to me or whatever. I have the trans friends that I know and have spoken to. Like, you know, they kind of have a lot of pressure from the outside in. Like, you know, they have gone to physical abuse. That's why they kind of start hating their body or their feminine or their masculine parts.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because they have been through abuse and they don't want to associate with that. And like, you know, they just didn't feel right because they wanted to always dress up in like, you know, in female clothes, or they wanted to have breasts or whatever, like, you know. And these are all like on the spiritual level, these are all like ichhas, like, you know, these are all things that you want, but you are not necessarily what you want isn't who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how RuPaul says that we're all born naked and the rest is drag. You know, you can be whatever you want to be. You know, it's like
I
You're
disagree
unlimited.
with you there.
Yeah.
Like, only with the general statement of you are not what you want. I feel like there is a lot of agency in creating who you are. You know?
Yeah.
Some part of it is obviously what you are born as and your nature, you know. But a lot of it is what you decide to be, you know. Like suppose I am waking up and talking to you. I'm not like yanking your hair out and throwing it outside the window. Right? Like I am deciding to not do that. You get what I mean? You understand what I mean? Like your personality and what I'm saying, what I'm doing, I'm wanting to do that. I'm choosing to do that. It's not just who I am.
Exactly what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that you are
So, In the
choosing
end-
is not necessarily wanting. Like, for example, say suppose I want a car. Okay, I want car. Okay, and so then I start working for it. Blah 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 blah. And they say, right, you should be what you want. Blah blah blah. You should act like it's already yours. All of these manifestation techniques. It's true. Like, you know, those things work. But then at the same time, after you get the car, you get your wants fulfilled, you will still be who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like that you mean in terms of like a desire of material things?
Yeah, you think that it is going to kind of
Change who
satisfy
you
you,
are. Yeah.
change who you are. If you're innately dissatisfied with yourself,
Mm,
then no matter what you do,
Like a
hun,
dream.
yeah, no matter what you do, hun, you're just going to, you know, you're going to find something that doesn't make you feel okay in your
Yeah,
body.
okay, I was talking about something different.
Yeah.
I was talking about like how, like what I want in life and things I want says a lot about me and who I am.
Yeah.
I was talking about that.
Yeah.
Like,
so I was saying that you're bigger than your wants, as in,
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
in the sense, you even if you want something, you get it.
mm,
If you are satisfied even before you get it, you're a satisfied person.
yeah,
Like,
I genuinely feel
And
like
after you get it also, if you're dissatisfied, you will remain dissatisfied only if you're used to being dissatisfied.
yeah, being content
Yeah.
is a choice.
Yeah.
And it's a choice that you have to make despite of having your wants or not having your wants, being in the right place of mind or not. It has nothing to do with what you have currently, I feel.
Yeah.
Being content.
Yeah, and I believe, getting back to the topic, I believe that, femininity is something that knows how to be blissful even by itself. Which is why it is normal for a man to, steal, rape, all of those sort of things. Trigger warning. But it's normal for a man to even sought after these things or conquer or something like that. Whereas it is very normal for a female to be content, to be happy with the little things in life, to be like, oh, look at the pretty flower, and and be happy about it, not even want to pluck it and keep it for herself, but just be like, wow, such a pretty flower.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You
Like,
know?
ownership is.
Yeah, it's a
and
very
ego.
patriarchal thing.
Yeah, ego and ownership. I'm gonna say it. I feel like women are more intelligent than men
Yeah.
by average. So like they just understand these complex things more than men
Which
do.
is probably why female warfare or toxic femininity is far more scary to me. Not to maybe everybody, because fortunately maybe I have not dealt with toxic masculinity a lot, thank God, but I have dealt a lot with toxic femininity in my life. And I believe that the first thing that they will do to you, because women are so much more intelligent, they're like, why would I punch this person when I could just make this person insecure?
Yeah.
You know?
I want to ask you something. Like,
Yeah.
What are your experiences with toxic femininity? Because what I find interesting is that Shweta and I have had very different experiences. Being a woman, interacting with women, and understanding our own feminine energy or whatever. So,
It's not even my
what has
experiences.
been your
It is
experience?
not even my experiences, but the experiences that I've grown up around, seen, blah blah blah. I've seen, in because I was just like a different girl in the sense I was um, very comfortable with being on my own.
And I think you are also comfortable not people pleasing.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest difference between you and I.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why there was a difference in experience also.
No, but actually I'm quite a people pleaser, but just I will please people, but with who I am, not by trying to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like, see, this is what I have, and I'm going to make you happy with what I have. Sort of thing. Whereas somebody will try to fit in, and that has never been a problem for me. I've just been and I would never even weirdly be like, oh, they're wrong for being the way they are. I'm like, no, they're fine. They're right. It's just not the way I am.
Yeah.
I
think growing up, like especially when I was younger, like now I'm so happy, like I don't do that anymore. When I was much younger, like in middle school, start of high school, I was obsessed with fitting in. And I was obsessed with being part of those girls, so I always ended up being like the nice girl in the popular group.
Yeah.
Like the only girl in the popular group who everybody would talk to because she seems not like 25 kgs and actually nice, or like used to study and be a doc, I guess. But but I was still obsessed with that, and I had to keep changing myself and figuring out, what do you like? Should I get like this sandwich tomorrow so they'll talk to me? Should I wear this top tomorrow so they'll talk to me? So yeah, it was like a lot of that, which is a defense mechanism, right? You are scared of toxic femininity, being a victim of it. So you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of that.
So Sanu and I have this joke where Sanu will kind of not as much as Sanu will tell me, but I will tell her because I have gone through the kind of trauma that I have. Like I will call shit out. I will call the toxicity out because I have been bullied, because I have been this thing subject to it. You become hyper attuned to it. So, because it's a defense tactic, because imagine if you're like a gazelle, right? Why are they so skittish? Like, it's because they're aware that a lion can come. They have seen, like, the trauma that it can, bring upon you. So, they are always hyper attuned to it. So, if anybody has like remotely narcissistic or toxic tendencies around me, I'm hyper attuned to them, and I will call them out, and which results into me being a scapegoat. Because whenever you speak truth to power, and especially if you call out their toxic behaviors to them, then they will make an example out of you.
Yeah.
They will be like, if you
But that's what that's really nice, because only when I started turning, like maybe once I went into college, and for me having like a gap year and being away from just high school behavior, because like my boyfriend and I say this all the time, like world is high school, your office is high school, your school is high school, obviously, your college is high school, so you're always operating on high school mentality. So when taking a break from that made me realize, oh, this is who I am, and I don't really need validation from everybody constantly to be happy. Even when I'm all alone, I'm happy. So that break allowed me to stand up to bullying and toxic femininity, because when I was younger, I have been unfortunately enabling that behavior. Like I saw my friend who was really good friends with me who got bullied in front of me, and I didn't do anything about it. I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I'm not going to partake in it, but neither am I going to do anything about this, which is also being part of the abuse. Only after I realized, ये सब मोह माया types, like they will like me, not like me tomorrow, who cares? Did I suddenly realize, no, that's wrong. Like, I'm not going to let that happen. And I'm going to be nice to people. And I'm going to very nicely tell them, hey, bro, back off. Don't be mean to people. Like, there is a very nice, like a therapist was telling me, there's a very nice in-between between being passive and aggressive, right? And you can be that middle and still get your way through. And that's, I think women understand that far more than men do.
Because it's nuanced, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the same thing. Like I was about to say that, like, because I call things out, or because I'm a little loud about things, because I have been through the actual abuse, like, wherein as the whole, like, the typical Regina George kind of thing, like, where they will kind of see what makes you different, and they'll be like, what a weirdo, like, she has a boycott, like I bet she has a dick down there, like, people say these things when they're teenagers and all of that, but that results me being called she-man for like the next 10-15 years of my life. And it the kind, I mean, I can talk about the rumors that have been spread about me till the cows come home, and they're all worse than the previous ones, always. So
what I love is that like Shweta and I always joke about this, that she would be so great in my generation, because I feel like as we are evolving, we are just understanding that a different, like, if I was just saying somebody was romanticizing 90s, I'm like, thank God I was not growing up in the 90s, dude. Like, if you were a little different, you were like hated. If your eyebrows were a little thick, you were hated. Like, you could not be different in any way. And like, in my generation, obviously you still get bullied, and you still are, differences are still shamed, but not to that extent.
It's basically about conformity, na? It's about that entire tribal thing, like, this person is out of the tribe, therefore we must protect whatever. It is like, but we must understand that is caveman mentality. Congratulations, you have the brain of a caveman. You have not evolved.
In-group, out-group is also something that I love studying in psychology.
Oh, for sure.
It's like in-group, out-group mentality is so ingrained in humans, that's like insane. Because if you think about it, on a larger scale, everything is in group, out group. Religions are in group, out group. Countries are in group, out group. Cities, sports teams. We are obsessed with creating a group and be like, this is group. You are out of group. Like,
And that is
Yeah.
another thing about me, like, I don't want to, like, make that to be a narrative in my mind, but this has happened to me so far.
Yeah.
Whereas I will be part of I will join a class, say, or I will join a club or whatever, and there will be a group. And believe you me, everybody's talking about me. This always happens. Everybody talks about me, and people tell me that everybody is talking about me. But then at the same time, I am never added to the group.
Yeah.
People talk about me, not to me, and it's like this weird thing, and I just don't I don't get it, like, but at the same time now I've become very used to it.
Yeah.
Like, in the sense that I'm like, please, it's fine, y'all can do whatever y'all want. This does not bother me at all. This is happening to me since age 7. So
Do you
like,
think having a larger personality will
that's the thing. I don't think at least before I used to have one. Now I believe like I'm a very mild and very mature version of what I used to be,
I
because
still think you have a large personality.
I don't think. Then I think that you just don't get rid of the personality, dude. Like
You
just
don't.
have it.
It's
You
your
just-
nature.
It's your nature.
Yeah,
Like,
so yeah, because I find that interesting because I've seen that because I've been in groups and also out of groups, and I'm like, what makes that person in the group and what makes that person out of the group? And it is someone who I don't know, just doesn't stand out. Like, if you don't stand out, you will easily be part of a group.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, that is what I've also noticed. So this is why I've become okay with it. Because
Yeah.
I'm just like, usually people who are part of every group and is everybody's friend are people who are not considered as threats.
Yeah, like, like
And-
coming back to toxic femininity, right?
Yeah.
When you're in school and you see these plastics or whatever, like from the Mean Girls,
Yeah.
and you're like, I want to be in that group. And I used to be like this kid, right? I still am, honestly. If you don't like me, I take that as a challenge. I'm just like, oh, okay, you don't like me? I will make you like me tomorrow only, which is so wrong. Like, I still remember I joined school, right? And Gurukul was like, they used to bully people, and they took my lip balm and they crushed it on the table. And my psychotic response to that was when I found out who did it, I'm like, I will make her my friend by next week. And I'm like, what is wrong with
The
me?
look of sheer horror on my face.
No, what is wrong with me? Like, now I would go and punch that person. But there was something seriously wrong. So I was like, okay, and I did. I made her my friend next week.
Oh god.
I was like, I'm gonna figure what she
My
likes.
weird reaction to that would be, I'm like, I would have, yelled at her, given
Yeah.
her complete hell, given this person an absolute reaction, which is
Yeah.
what they want, so
Yeah.
that they can actually spread a rhetoric about you that you are crazy.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? So every time they want to scapegoat a person, or if they, for example, if they don't like you, they want you to act in a way that is unlike you, so that they can spread a narrative which is unlike you. Like, for example,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, this chick is such a psycho bitch. Like, like, so
Yeah,
then they will
yeah.
actually do something
But like,
to,
see,
to you, which will make anybody become a psycho bitch.
coming back to my point.
No, let me
my
finish.
point is-
So they will actually make you react that way and then spread a rhetoric about you that you are this psycho person, which you actually are not. It's just that you are having a normal reaction to what anybody would have. Like,
Yeah. So, but my point was like, because I had this tendency of wanting to be in the in group, I got into a lot of in groups, and I got into the most coveted in groups, and I realized being in there, especially now that I'm older, it's not that big a deal. Like, they're boring, they're annoying,
the judgy.
they're judgy, and they hate each other and they hate themselves as well. So it's not that fun. So if you're not in the in group or they hate you, thank God. Like, okay, I don't want to be friends with you anyway.
Rejection is your protection, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, so
It's not worth it.
yeah. So for me, I kind of weirdly had this opinion even before, like when I used to be bullied, As to be like, who wants to be part of such, a hateful friend group? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of it. So I will just try to make you all, which was to be my toxic trait, I would try to teach them by speaking truth to them, right? I was not speaking truth to them so that they feel bad. I would speak truth to them so that I'm like, so this is what's wrong with you, improve. Like,
See, I
but
think
that is not how it
yeah,
works.
That's not the right approach if you are ever in a situation like that, I feel. Because this whole thing is not about women are bad. Obviously, we were gushing over women before this also. It's like you
I'm not
don't
going to be defensive about that.
Yeah.
Shitty people are shitty people.
No, you don't have to be part of a toxic femininity. Neither do you have to go ahead and change them. Let them be where they are. Create your own group where you find women who are really like I did that in my own college, right? I couldn't get along with a lot of women in my college. Like they were just not my vibe. But I did not go up to them and be like, I don't, whatever, could challenge you. I made my own group. And
That's
I'm
right.
like, I filled it with women who I love and adore and are still my friends, who are super girls, like they said, like my intern said. But yeah, you create your own amazing female group that loves you and is not
Which is why
toxic.
we're even having this podcast in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
because once you understand that this kind of behavior does not have to be encouraged.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that, they're this coveted group like she was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
where they all just kind of hate on each other, honestly.
Yeah.
Or judge on each other. Because, see, it is, honestly, I feel bad for them. That's because that's probably how they love themselves. They probably judge themselves into anorexia. They probably, judge themselves into bulimia. They judge themselves into, like, having toxic relationships. They probably judge themselves into so many bad things. And I'm so glad that, somewhere I did not conform to that. Like, no, I will not judge myself into changing. I will not call myself the weird girl. Like, let them say whatever they want. They're wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should go to them and say that they're wrong, which is what I did, which probably you should not do. Which will, like, because you should just recognize them for who they are and just be like,
don't waste your breath.
don't waste your breath.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what they want. Number one, they want you to go and waste your breath. They want to agitate you into being a psycho person that they're making you out to be. The second thing is, just don't waste your time. Like, and honestly, I've been painfully alone most of my life. But at the same time, I will not blame that because, like Shania said, I was into anime and manga probably before anybody heard of that. Like, like Shania keeps saying that I would be such I would be very popular in her age. Because I was into all of these things before them because I was painfully alone. Has to be like, like my only entertainment used to be like surfing and listening to songs actually repeatedly, which I liked, which made me really, really good at singing. I became a good writer at that age because I couldn't talk to friends. I would talk, to a book with my pen, like,
Yeah.
So
I think an obsession with being popular in general
yeah.
is very high school. Like if anybody thinks like that as a grown adult,
Yeah.
like wow, get a life. Like just once you have friends and not even friends, like even if you have like two people, one person also in this world who you love and love hanging out with and is truly a friend who doesn't judge you, you're winning at life. Like just stick to people who make you feel good about yourself, who you make feel good about themselves as well. And yeah, everything
people who
else
you
is,
like and like you, it's not that complicated.
Yeah,
like,
and any woman who's like thing is to put another woman down to feel popular and feel great about themselves are really sad.
yeah,
Like
and insecure.
Yeah,
They're just
and I feel
really
bad for
scared.
them. Like they must have gone through something in life
Yeah.
to make them obsessed with that. So I feel bad for them and move on.
No, but at the same time, I do feel bad for them, sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have this tendency to ruin somebody else's life because you feel bad, I'm sorry. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll feel bad about you, but go be there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Yeah. See, you can explain something but not justify behavior, right? Like when you meet someone who's being mean or being horrible, like suppose some horrible guy who says really toxic, sexist stuff. I will be like, I can maybe explain this away with mommy issues, but that doesn't justify your behavior. So,
Which is,
yeah.
I love that segue. So I weirdly, maybe this is wrong, but I'm just gonna say it, like, because I welcome being politically incorrect on this podcast, my podcast, my roots. So like, so it's like, because you don't have to be correct, you can be wrong, and like, if people write disrespectful comments on the this thing comment section, nothing will be done, they will just be deleted. It's okay, you do you, boo. Like, sort of thing. But yeah, I do believe that a big reason for toxic masculinity to even exist is probably because there was a toxic feminine, influence somewhere over there, which allowed him to get away with shitty behavior. Like, usually, if you notice, like, a lot of toxic men have a weirdly close relationship with their mom. Which kind of makes them only seek sexual comfort in women, and at the moment you objectify women, you start treating them like shit. Like,
Yeah, not
So-
seeing women as humans.
as human beings. So then you'll treat them like shit, you'll break their heart left, right, and center. You'll treat them like, you'll treat them like you have no responsibility over, like, how you treat them, because your only responsibility is towards how you treat your mother.
Yeah.
Like, so that kind of is very, very scary.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because I always notice this, and probably everyone has, in Bollywood movies or in just general life, people always say, वो किसकी माँ होगी, वो किसकी बहन होगी.
Yeah.
Women don't have to earn respect if they are related to you,
Yeah.
or if you see them in a relation as a relative,
Yeah. So you mean to say that women are only supposed to be human beings if or to be treated
Yeah.
like human beings?
be connected
अगर वो
to a
आपकी
man.
माँ है, अगर वो
Yeah.
आपकी बहन है, अगर वो आपकी बेटी है,
Yeah.
अगर वो कुछ नहीं है, तो फिर वो भाड़ में जाए कुतिया.
No, you see what they're trying to say with that statement, right? A woman deserves respect if she has been in relation to a man.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
You basically are saying that only if a
And-
woman serves me in some
Yeah.
way, is she worth any
and
respect?
never a wife. They never mentioned
Never
she could be
mentioned
someone's wife.
Nope.
So that's interesting.
Because it has to be a
Right.
non-sexual relationship.
Yeah.
The moment she's having sex with you, she
Doesn't deserve
She does
respect.
not deserve respect.
Which is so stupid.
Yeah, it is
So-
like this entire virgin, like, I think we spoke about the Madonna complex.
Yeah.
No, we did not. So weirdly, this is fun. So the Madonna complex is basically the angel versus the whore, concept. So whereas a woman who is not to be looked at sexually is like, an angel, no matter how toxic she might be on the inside. And if a woman is having if a woman is looked at in a sexual way, then she's a bad girl.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so which is where the angel and the vamp basically becomes like a concept, right? Where there is a Sita and a Geeta. There's a good girl and a bad girl. And what is the difference between two? One is sexual and one is not. Which is so crazy, because a sexual woman is the reason for existence.
Yeah.
Okay, like there would be no nigga in this whole freaking planet walking around if a woman wasn't sexual one time in her life. Okay. So actually you owe your life to a sexual woman, honestly speaking. Which is what I was saying, like, a woman in her actual natural tendency is somebody who creates, which is why I was actually very, very grateful in retrospect, not that time I was crying lots, but in retrospect, to be left alone, because I could learn to create. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I was in the void, in the void of creation. Like, so I could, and in that void, actually spiritually, this is a concept, right? The void of creation. Like, because you are in that void, you allow yourself to be bored, and then things just come to you like epiphanies. Because you are basically nothing right now. You are not part of this group. This drama does not concern you. You have no boyfriend. Nobody likes you. You like nobody, because everybody's so, like, somebody you can relate to. So you just basically are in this void where ideas, great abilities come to you. You just become like a vessel for it. And so even a sexual woman is or a woman who's comfortable with her sexuality is like a void. like, you know, because she doesn't have any judgment about being sexual. She doesn't have any judgment about oh, this is the way, like she's not even trying to please that man when she's being sexual. She's just having fun because she doesn't associate the Madonna complex to her being sexual. Like, you know, she just is playing, like, you know, with a guy that she really really likes, and you know, playing without any boundaries with a guy that she really really wants to let into her space. Like, you know, it's just play. You know, it's not I'm assigning value to myself through this in any sort of way, or I'm taking away value from myself because of this in any sort of way. So yeah, so this, in fact, I think that a lot of in the witch trials and all of that, they kind of made examples of women like this who were very very comfortable with their sexuality because seduction is such a great power of a woman to have. Like, you know, the fact that she can go and bargain this thing, like, you know, get like probably 5 dresses for, like, you know, $2,000 because she knew how to talk to the guy who was selling them. You know, it is a very very feminine trait to get your way. Like, you know, with a slight lilt in your voice. A man will go and fight his way, and a woman will go and be like, please no, give na. Like, you know, and she'll get it. You know,
Yeah.
and that is such a
We have to. Sorry.
huh?
I have to log into work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.